how should a woman define on her level? What are the different things that she should look at to define that?
I feel like it would depend again on somebody's particular goals, but if you are kind of, what my focus is dating to get married.
So now your current husband, is he black? Is he white? Or
I am currently single.
Stop jumping around. Did you leave your child's father, or did he leave you?
Okay. I left him, and again, I'm not going to go into details because if I don't have anything nice to say, I'm not.
Yeah, no. You, like I said, you know.
I'll just decline to answer.
Okay, you have the right to do that. So are you saying that winning? Because you mentioned you're in a situation. For Black women, winning is being in any situation where they're taken care of, even if they're not married, even if they don't have the ring, even if they don't have the, I guess, whether it's the legal contract, they don't have marriage. You think as long as they're in a situation and they're being taken care of, them and their kid is being taken care of, and they're unmarried, they're still winning as long as they have that paycheck from whatever man they're with?
I feel like that's another kind of thing that's very individual, and of course, when you're getting into children and finances, it depends on your state,
So you are familiar with, basically it was a report recently that was released and looked at the different Western countries, or the different first world countries, if you will. And the U.S. ranked last as far as upward mobility, right? Which is a person to actually jump from class to class. It ranked like last, unfortunately, for various reasons. So, are you, I guess, aware that while hypergamy can happen, it is rare, right? Just based upon, some of the different data, and I guess maybe being able to communicate that with some of the people that you want to help. That, hey, this can potentially happen, but it's hard to do so in this country. How would you handle that, or how would you, manage that expectation to those who? Because not everyone's going to be able to successfully do that. It just is what it is. So how would you manage those expectations of very few are actually able to do this and still, try to find ways to help?
Well, this is where I believe maybe me and my content being localized to where I'm from kind of comes into play, because here it's innate in our culture, and, men provide and women stay at home, and it's not like, you have to stay at home, but there's always the option, and men really take pride in being providers. So I see things happen all the time, and that's kind of what leads me to go online and give women hope and kind of say that, hey, hypergamy isn't going and getting somebody who's Jeff Bezos. Maybe it's just a middle-class living somewhere in America. It's not about luxury to me. I know a lot of people view hypergamy in that way, but I don't think luxury is needed to be considered hypergamous, So
you said a word I wanted to emphasize, and I'm sorry, and I'll shut up after this. The word hope. And I think that's why my intro was, I don't really think Black women know what's going on in the world. And I think the difference between men and women is the world beats us up every day and strips us of that hope. So it forces us to do things, right? And we don't just, and the hope thing to me is like almost like a drug. It's an opiate. It's like, I need the hope, but that's not the world we're living in. That's why my intro was the economic realities for most Americans. Like 40% of Americans, once again, can't afford a $400 emergency. 60% of Americans can't afford a $1,000 emergency. 80% of Americans live paycheck to paycheck. So like, that's just what it is, right? So like, even when we talk about hypergamy and marrying up, like, once again, how does this, I mean, like you're saying about individual Black women, but we're talking about 6.5% of the U.S. population. Like, my apologies, I just don't see how this works, and I get the hope thing, but once again, I see that as a drug that Black women are just like, I can't deal with the realities of the world, so I need the hope and the idea that some non-Black man is going to come and whisk me away from, air quotes, Blackistan. I'll pause right there.
For women, Black women in particular, who want to be hypergamous, how do you address the weight component? Because 85% of us are like overweight, and across the board, especially when you're going into non-Black territory, men just are not as forgiving. They're just simply not as forgiving when it comes to weight. And most of us in Black America are overweight. So if you want to get into a higher class or higher income, like there's a reason that you don't see a lot of divestors promoting BBWs or big beautiful women. There is a reason for that. So what do you, Black women who truly desire to divest and maybe marry up or just even marry good, how do you address the weight component?
It's never been an issue for me in particular. I used to be a lot heavier than I am currently. And, you know, again, I'm in the South. You know, I feel like my location maybe frames the type of experience I've had, which is why I always say it. Mm-hmm. You know, here, you just don't see the type of, you know, it's not like fat women can't get decent men. You know, it's not a barrier here, but I'm in the South. You know, we like things bigger around these parts. So,
well, you know, black men especially, I mean, they're the most body positive. So I always argue this, that I think Black men tend to be they're more forgiving when it comes to maybe a woman's weight if she has the right qualities. But I'm just thinking specifically for women who want to divest into specifically other communities or marry up. Other men, white men, this beauty standard that some of us feel oppressed by, they're not as forgiving as African tropical bigger body types. They're just not. Which is, I think, one of the reasons Kevin Samuels gets pushed back. I asked you about it, but I know you haven't mentioned. But so, you know, if you live in a rural area, you're a small town, that makes sense. I just was curious how, you know, you address women, because if you're having women coming from all over different places, it is talking to you, trying to get advice. I mean, you know, that is a real thing. That is a real thing that many of us are going to face.